This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, real MVPs? This is the third time I am doing this intro today, but the first time you're probably seeing it, because this is the Rick and Johnny podcast. If you're wondering why, Ricky, are you doing this intro for the third time? Well, we did an Aladdin review. We have done a Brightburn review. You can also check out those. But I am joined, as I always am, by fellow Manchild Johnny Karlic.
You know nothing, Ricky Widmer.
I do not know anything, and that is a great segue into what we're going to be talking about today. Before I tell you about that, though, what is the Rick and Johnny podcast? This is TV, entertainment, movies, superheroes, everything under the two nerdy suns. And today we are talking a lot of bit about Game of Thrones. A lot of you have probably been like, well, Ricky, it's been a week. I've bitched about everything I have to, so really the series is over. But Johnny and I have not been able to kind of give our farewell.
Sort of our send-off.
To the series since it ended last Sunday, so that's what we are going to do today. I will be honest, this will probably be the only thing on the podcast today. There might be a surprise at the end, but if anything, this will probably take up the whole time for our podcast today. Before we get into everything, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. You want to help us get out of this 10x12 sweaty box that we are in. Please donate to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. If you want to hear Mark and I talk about Game of Thrones before this was, so we recorded it before the last episode. If you want to hear that before everyone else hears it on June 15th, you can get that podcast for as low as $1. You can also join a podcast at the $10 tier talking about the topic you would like to talk about. But Johnny, this is just going to be kind of a easygoing kind of Game of Thrones discussion. The thing I will ask you to kind of start this was, what was your initial reaction when the series was all said and done?
So
basically
asking about final episode.
Basically when it ended, what were you thinking in your head?
So here's my first reaction was, but I wasn't enthralled with it, but I wasn't pissed off about it because everything wrapped up nicely. It left like some stuff of like, yeah, we could do something if we really wanted to, and I think they're talking about doing a few spin-offs. I don't think they said who yet, but I think
one of them is Robert's Rebellion. We
that
know
would
that
be
for
cool.
Sure.
I would love to see that
because they've been talking about Robert's Rebellion for years.
They have, but I think they did say something about possibly doing a prequel type thing. And my first thought from prequel is like, oh shit, we're gonna get like the First Men beginning and that king. No, we're just gonna get Robert's Rebellion. Okay, I'm fine with that. That'd be cool to see young Ned Stark and all that, like taking on the Targaryens.
Basically, yeah.
But no, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not enthralled with it, but I'm not pissed off about it because you know what? It was a fun ride the whole time, and the ending didn't end badly. Like I was
just like, for me, I had a couple different thoughts with it. Where, number one, I still kind of have the feeling that it should have been longer than 6 episodes. Like,
I agree with you on that.
The thing that I can't help, like, when I got done with it, it was like, because Dave's first thing was, was this worse than How I Met Your Mother? No, it wasn't worse than How I Met Your Mother. But, I mean, I was sitting there kind of, like, not knowing what to think, because it didn't, like, the very end didn't gut punch me. Yeah. Where I had said this to Mark, because Mark and I talked about it Tuesday before the onside kick. I said I almost felt like that 8th episode kind of... Oh, I should have said spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Probably should have, but hey.
I'm assuming that you understand if we're going into it, it's spoilers. But I'll put up at the bottom, like, spoilers.
In the beginning.
Or I'll record something and kind of impose it in before we start talking about it. But the thing that I mean, one of the things I thought was that they hit the climax too soon in the final episode. Of like, the climax was him killing Danny. But Mark brought up a great point. Usually in fantasy, you hit your climax and then you have epilogue at the end. Like when the movie ends,
that's true.
You usually have epilogue. So everything
look at
we
Lord of
saw,
the Rings.
yeah, everything we saw after him killing Danny
Was epilogue.
I
feel like it kind of like peaked, killed Danny, and then went like this, and then plateaued when it was like Tyrion and Jon were now both prisoners. It's like, because we weren't sure. It's like, okay, Jon's definitely not on the throne at this point. As a lot of us thought maybe he might be.
Yeah, I don't think like he would. After he killed Danny, there was no way he was going to be king.
No, but it's like, but you're still wondering, is like, are they going to kill Jon? Are they going to let them kill Jon? Are they?
Grey Worm wanted to.
Grey Worm wanted
Which,
Jon
by the
dead.
way, fuck Grey Worm.
Yeah,
I
fuck
hate
him.
I hate Grey Worm. And I get there's Grey Worm fans out there, especially where the sympathizers are like, well, look at what he lost. No, he's an asshole. And for me, I felt like the climax was hit too soon, but then what Mark discussed, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I also had the kind of sense that almost every character from the Starks' perspective got what they wanted, maybe, except Bran, maybe. Arya gets to go travel the world and be by herself. She's great as a loner. Sansa gets a free North
and gets to be
and
queen
is queen of the North. Jon basically, he was happiest when he was with his brothers of the Night's Watch and the Wildlings.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's where he was happiest with that
mostly
kind of camaraderie.
with the Wildlings, which I feel like that was a sentiment of when they closed that gate. It's like, just hey, we don't care if you go off with the Wildlings,
basically. And then Bran, I think, is the only one, because the whole thing is, I brought this point up in a Game of Thrones group chat that I'm in.
Yeah.
They were all mad because, let's be honest, the easiest character to hate in the whole series is Bran. And they have some people in that group that definitely do hate Bran. And they keep bringing up, I don't know why he took it. He didn't want to be king. And I brought up the point, no, he never said he didn't want to be king. He said earlier in past episodes, he didn't want to be the king of the North. He didn't want to rule Winterfell. Which I want to ask you this question, which is kind of like our first kind of theory question going in. Do you think it was Bran's plan all along to sit on the Iron Throne? Which, did he strategically place stuff being the Three-Eyed Raven? Because after he was given the gift of the Three-Eyed Raven, he might have saw the future and was like, okay, I see now that I'm going to have to be the king at the end because of what he said to Tyrion. You were exactly where you needed to be, which I kind of saw that as, no, you needed to be alive right here to basically say, I think Bran should be king.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I think Bran, like, because he's in past, present, and future, he saw, okay, well, I'm going to up as king. I may as well kind of push it along. Because, like he said, he actually admitted, I don't want to be king, but I'm going to do it. That's why when Tyrion's like, oh, I don't want to be Hand. Oh, but you're going to be. Like, I don't get what I want to do, so you don't get what you want to do, because he just wants to be Three-Eyed Raven.
Well, and also, I have a feeling that maybe Bran knew, like, looking in the future, knew he was going to have to be king.
Yeah.
Because notice whenever he had such, like, he was never the one to basically say, I am going to tell you, I am going to do this. It was all Sam told Jon about his lineage.
Yeah.
The only reason Bran was the one that told the Starks about Jon's lineage,
because Jon said
was
to.
Jon made the decision. He said it's your decision.
Exactly.
Giving Arya the Valyrian dagger, very key. Like, he knew, hey, she is going to be the one to kill
the Night King.
The Night King, she's going to need this to do it.
And then when, I think it was Sam that asks, brought up, like, hey, a future is like, who says there's a future? He's like, I'm not giving shit away for free.
Yeah, basically.
Like, if you don't need to know it, you don't need to know it. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, he is a good pick for king if you think about it, because let's say you bring up like a situation. Hey, fight between these two people, or like I need to judge someone for something they did. He doesn't need to ask. He doesn't need to judge. Yeah, they did it. Kill them.
Basically.
Or, no, they didn't do it. Let them go.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I wonder, like, I know that there's people out there that are like, fuck Bran too.
Yeah.
But like, that's a part of me too, is I wonder if he kind of, not necessarily that he wanted to be king, but it was I mean, let's be honest, could it have been a part where, was it more of he knew he would have to become king? Or do you honestly think Bran was like, I'm going to use this power to become king?
I think it's more so, because I'm wondering if he more so just knew he had to become king. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that plays into it too. Tyrion actually, at one point, I think it was Tyrion or it was Varys, said a king needs to be someone that doesn't want it.
Yeah. Which we all thought Jon Snow.
Yeah, because Jon didn't want the leadership roles either.
But Bran didn't either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bran just wanted to be Three-Eyed Raven. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't really want anymore. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he wanted the king role. He just knew that, like, well, I'm eventually going to have to be king, so I may as well kind of help it along so it works out well.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, also the thing that you've got to... Because I'm thinking, him telling Jon about his past set everything into motion. Mm-hmm. Because you have to know Jon was loyal to Dany.
Yeah.
So you knew he was going to tell Dany. But then you knew he also was going to tell his siblings because he wasn't going to keep anything from them. And then you had to know that Sansa can't keep her fucking mouth shut.
Exactly.
That she was going to tell Tyrion. So it's like that one thing spiderwebbed into, if they never tell Jon his lineage,
it wouldn't give him doubts about Dany.
Dany never turns evil, I don't think.
That's true.
Because the whole reason why I feel Dany turned was because, I feel like she was expecting a fight and wanted a fight and didn't want, like, she didn't want to be the reason for the fight. She wanted Cersei to pull it out of her.
Yeah.
But number two, I feel like a part of it was the self-doubt of, like, she has no longer got the right to the throne. Jon has. It was actually a mixture
of things, because now that Jon knew that they were related, kind of like started to falter, them getting more emotionally attached to each other. Because Jon started to go, "You're my queen."
Yeah, you're my queen, Dany. My queen. I do a terrible Jon Snow, but I try anyways.
You're my queen, Dany.
You're my queen, and stab.
But stab, I mean, like, she was in the room. Like, when she goes, should I roll by love or fear? Mm-hmm. And they kiss, and then he just kind of pulls away and says, "You'll always be my queen." It's like, okay, that's my answer.
Well, and that's another.
Like, what?
And that's another thing too, where people were upset about Dany's turn. And I know this was the episode before the last episode. I kind of felt like it was in her character. Yeah. And it fit because, like, even in the last episode, when she gave her war speech, that was like, holy shit, everything's clicking together.
Yep.
When Dany says liberate, she means we come in, we kill the oppressors, we make them bend the knee, and then we rule them. Like, that is what they do. Like,
oppress
any work Dany has done is she's walked in, you either choose to die or not, and then boom, she rules you. And it's like, yeah, I think it was Marine.
Yeah.
She wanted to be the whole, like, that's where she kind of, I think, first got the taste of, yeah, you want to be a good ruler, but you still have to have an iron fist of, like, yes, you want to free the slaves, but at the same time, you as the queen are not going to be on the same level as your subjects. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, they make fun of Sam when Sam's like, well, maybe we should have a vote, and people vote on who the king should be. And they're like, oh, well, maybe we should let the dogs vote too.
And my
they should have a say.
horses.
Yeah, where it was like, oh, silly democracy. That never works. I like that they put that in. But like, yeah, with Dany, it showed her in that war speech too. It kind of showed that, yeah, this is what Dany does. Like when she says liberate, they are going to go out to the other countries and basically bend the knee. Oh, you're opposing. We're going to start a war with you and liberate you. They're not liberating them. They're fighting them.
Yeah, they're not, like you said, they're not liberating. She's just kind of killing off the oppressor, making the slaves feel freed, or whoever is being oppressed feel
But
freed.
really, they got brand new chains.
Yeah, exactly. This is a hidden chain.
Basically.
And it's because, like, yeah, I'm your queen. Oh, but you're welcome to do whatever you want. Are you, though?
It's that kind of it's that false freedom.
Exactly.
Very
freedom
false freedom.
is one of life's great lies.
Well, it's kind of like that freedom you get when, this is off of Game of Thrones a bit, but it's like I listened to Howard Stern the other day.
Yeah.
And he was talking about when he got his license. And he was like, it's going to be so great. I'm going to have so much freedom. I'm going to be able to go wherever I want. And he's like, nothing really changed. It was just a different vehicle to do what I want to do. I still had to be home by this time. I didn't get to make any like really brash choices. It was like nothing. I thought I was going to have so much freedom. And it ended up not changing anything because just because you have a car doesn't mean you get to use it whenever you want as a 16-year-old.
To quote Loki from Marvel, freedom is one of life's great lies, and until you know that, you'll not be truly free.
Yeah, basically. But the one thing I will say with the final episode that I did like, the image of when Dany is walking out and Drogon spreads his wings behind her.
Yeah.
And it basically looks like the wings are coming
Off of her.
out of Dany. I was like, oh, that is fucking cool. Also, badass Arya.
Yeah.
Dany walks away. Jon turns. Where the fuck did you come from? A girl has no face. Because that's the first
Girl
time.
has no name.
Yeah, that's basically the first time Jon.
Girl has no face.
Yeah, the
Faceless man.
The faceless man.
Faceless God. But a girl has no name, Ricky.
She has no face either. I would have really liked, by the way, like, because that was the first time Jon kind of saw her.
Yeah.
Like, use her ninja skills. I would have loved for Jon the first time to see her use someone else's face.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been cool.
That would have been a cool thing to see.
But yeah, just having her just kind of pop up out of nowhere and be like, hey, man, you know what has to be fucking done. We know what has to be fucking done. Go ahead and do it. And even Tyrion saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to be done. I also like the scene of Tyrion walking up to Dany and kind of saying, fuck this. This is not what I signed up for.
Yep.
And then her saying, oh, you freed Jaime. And he's like, I'd do it again.
You burned a city.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
No, I love how he walks up next to her and she goes, you freed your brother. It's like, and you burned a city. It's like, fuck you.
Like the world star. Basically.
And then just takes and goes, fuck, yeet.
Mic drop. Drop that mic.
Right?
But yeah, the other thing too is for the people out there, I know there were a lot of them that I saw on Twitter that was like, Jon should have been king. This is bullshit. Jon didn't come on the Iron Throne. Here's the thing.
Joke's on you. No one is.
Yeah, no one did because Drogon said, fuck this shit, which I want to get to that in a second. The thing is, though, after Jon killed Dany, there was no way he was sitting on that Iron Throne because basically the way I see it is they had to banish Jon because the Unsullied were going to be a problem.
Yeah.
They were going to be a problem, and they did not want to fight another war.
No. They didn't want to sacrifice people to fight the Unsullied.
Because they're too powerful. Like, not that they're too powerful. I think they could have defeated... Well...
They could have probably defeated the Unsullied, but at what casualties?
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been easy. Like, the Stark forces are half of what they were.
Yeah.
And, like, even...
I mean, you would have had all 7 kingdoms against...
No, you wouldn't have. Because the Greyjoys, like,
okay,
Yora
so
Greyjoy even
they're not
said...
7th kingdom, though.
Even like Dorne. Like, it felt like Dorne. Oh, what was it? Dorne, the Greyjoys, and then Arendelle? No, I'm thinking Lord of the Rings, ain't I?
You are, but
Catelyn Stark, where she is from.
The River Run?
River Run, maybe.
I think it's, River Run.
But those three were kind of sitting off on their side. They kind of seemed like Dany supporters. So to me, they would support the Unsullied. So you wouldn't have all 7 kingdoms on the same side. You would have some on the Unsullied side.
I know
fighting the rest.
You'd have the North. You have Arn. You'd have. You may have had River Run.
It would basically be 4 against 3.
Yeah.
Because you would have 3 and the Unsullied, which is King's Landing, versus the other 3.
Well, I think it was like Arn, the North, wherever Sam was from, the Keep.
I'm just looking them up.
Yeah, go ahead and do that because I don't remember the
7
name.
kingdoms. So we've got the North, which is home to Winterfell. The Vale.
The Vale.
That is home to Eyrie. I hope I said that right. The Stormlands, the Reach, the Westerlands, the Iron Islands. It is a 7th kingdom.
It is a 7th. Maybe.
And Dorne. So you would have had Dorne, Iron Islands, and the Vale all on one side, and the North, the Reach, and the Westerlands on the other.
The Vale was wait, who was from the Vale?
The Vale, I believe, was Catelyn Stark's home. Because the Vale,
I'm trying to fucking find it. Why is it like not giving me?
Because I believe the Vale was Catelyn Stark.
That was the sister, right? Is that the one with the bird?
Yes, that's the one.
That would have been that would have been on the side of the North, because they've all fought together.
Yes, but now the North is like they were only allied with the North because of Catelyn Stark. Catelyn Stark is dead now. They have no link to the Starks.
But I think they were fighting for Sansa for the North to get the North back from Ramsay.
Yes, but
then
now
they fought to help with the Night King, I believe. Did they not?
Well, everyone fought with the Night King.
Well, not everyone, but the North, the Vale. I think the Vale would have been on their side.
I don't think so.
Against Dany.
That's I'll leave it up to the comment section for that. But because when they were sitting down,
I'm gonna watch that council.
I believe that because what was his name? Aaron was the kid's name.
Robin.
Because he was now all grown up. He was sitting, I believe, next to the Greyjoy.
They were kind of grouped in their
in their respective pods.
Hey, this is the sort of the Greyjoy Iron Islands. This is some of them were just strictly hey, it was Arya, Sansa, and Bran together because they were the North. You had the 3 for the Tully Riverlands. Is that what it was? Where's not the Vale, but is it called the Keep? The one that's represented by the flower.
You're right. So Catelyn Stark was River Run.
Yeah, she was.
Because she was a Tully.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a Tully. So I'm trying to think. So if she was River Run, wasn't River Run part of the Vale?
No. Arn is part of the Vale, which is the mountainous area, represented by the bird. River Run and the Tullys are more like where all the streams and rivers are. Okay. Represented by the fish.
So basically,
the biggest house.
Basically, that wouldn't be a problem because now Sam is running the show there.
Yeah, Sam would be with the North. So
Sam would be on the North, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
and then I think Arn is gonna go with the North because they had that connection already.
Point being, they'd be outnumbered. It wouldn't be all 6 kingdoms against the Unsullied.
Really, there's no Lannister anymore either.
Yeah, but you take the Lannisters out, and now the Unsullied have because the Lannisters were King's Landing.
Yeah.
Now the Unsullied had King's Landing. So you're basically taking out the Lannisters and putting the Unsullied in there.
Yeah.
And that would have been a problem.
And then, who knows who gets the Baratheon area right now?
Well,
Storm's End.
Gendry.
Well, Gendry would side with the North. 50-50 because, she made him, but he's also kind of loyal to Arya and the North.
Is he loyal to Arya anymore after Arya said, "Hey,
no.
go fuck yourself"? Basically, I
feel like he has more connections with them than he does
wouldn't be surprised
with Dany. So it's like that's why
be surprised
he's a 50-50 on that one.
I would feel like he would have to go with the Dany supporters because
Also,
without Dany, he is not the Lord of Storm's End.
and that's also the other part. Is anyone going to listen to him now that because Dany's dead? You're still a bastard. She was never really queen.
No, I feel like the people that support Dany would treat him like a lord because it came from their queen.
Yeah.
Like, you're on... Oh, I'm messing up her name. What's the sister's name?
Oh, God, I forgot her name.
Basically, the sister...
The Greyjoy.
Greyjoy. Like she said, I pledged my
Allegiance
to Daenerys. That is
which is
who
why
I
they want
pledged,
Jon dead.
Basically.
And either way, no matter what it was, it's going to be too many casualties on both ends.
Exactly.
To actually make it a fight.
That's the point of this argument. The thing I want to ask you is about the dragon.
Yes.
Drogon. I had this discussion with Mark, and I want to ask you what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think when Drogon came, found Dany dead, nudged her twice, realized she's dead, not getting up, do you think one of two things? Did he burn the Iron Throne because it was the only thing there and he wasn't going to kill Jon because Jon was a Targaryen? Or did he do it because he basically, the way I saw it, was that killed her?
That's what I think it was, honestly, because the dragon...
No, wait, that's not, there's three actually.
Oh,
there's the third one is what I think. So there's the one of, it's the only thing I can burn and I'm not going to kill Jon. Number two is that killed her. Her quest for that killed her. Or what I thought of, like, you killed her to get the Iron Throne. I'm not going to kill you because you're a Targaryen. If she can't have it, you can't have it. That's the one I kind of lean towards. Is if she can't have the Iron Throne, you don't deserve the Iron Throne. Which one do you think was going through the dragon's head?
I feel like dragons are smarter than we give them credit for.
They're supposed to be really smart.
We give them like oh, they're just like a horse or like this. No, they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Dragons are supposed to be really fucking smart.
So what my thought is, like, she's probably heard talk about the Iron Throne numerous times. Because she's talked about riding him. She's talked about it in front of him when he was just a baby.
Or just how she's felt in general.
But like I'm thinking it's a mixture of I'm not gonna like maybe he saw the change in her and like I just do what mom says, but she had me burn all this stuff that was supposed to be valuable to her, and he saw like kind of the change in like maybe he also saw it, maybe not saw, but like most animals can sense a change, and like. I'm not going to blame you, even though I'm pissed at you, but I'm burning this throne because this is what killed mom.
Well, I mean, there's a blame because Jon killed her. But I just felt like Drogon was not going to kill Jon because Jon is a Targaryen and a dragon's not going to kill a Targaryen.
That's true. It could be
the
that.
last now Targaryen alive.
Yeah. But it's, I think part of it too is sort of the fact, like, I think most of it comes down to this is what killed mom. The quest for this thing is what killed mom.
Yeah, which I would say would be my second choice. I just thought of like if she can't have it, you can't have it.
See, the funny thing was, I was in a Game of Thrones death pool, and
did you win any money from that?
No, I didn't have enough people die, or the right people die. So what's funny though, as soon as like one of the questions was who's gonna sit at the Iron Throne at the end. As soon as Drogon melted, I felt like I didn't.
Everyone was wrong.
I didn't, but I wanted to go to text the guy that was running and go. So nobody's sitting on the throne now, because that was like a two.
Technically, Dany never sat on it. She touched it.
Never sat on it. Jon never sat on it. I guess the last one to sit on it would be Cersei. But I know I feel like
I would say the answer was nobody is sitting on the Iron Throne.
Like I think it was supposed to be along the lines like who's sitting in the Iron Throne at the end of the movie?
Bran, because it's a wheelchair.
He's got his own. Yeah. I brought my own.
Did you Do you think there should be a spinoff of the Brand Council? Basically, Tyrion, Brienne of Tart, Bronn, Samwell, like that whole, like there are people out there that are like, I want a spin-off series of those guys.
I do, but I don't because I don't know how much you're gonna get out of that.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be funny.
It would be funny, but
am I calling for it? No, but
like how much? I'm just wondering how much material you have, like for more than a season.
Basically, it's them rebuilding the kingdom.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, that's a huge task.
I guess so.
It's a huge task to kind of, and
especially with Bronn, how he is.
They need to find their master of whispers and their master of war or general of war, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's true. Just as soon as the Unsullied are gone, bring Jon back up.
I will ask you this: should we be satisfied with this ending?
I say take it.
Well, we can't change it.
We can't change it, but just take it. I mean, it's fine. It's not great, but it's not. It actually works. If you really think about it, all in all, it all works out.
I will say this:
it ties up a lot of loose ends and everything. So
you can't always get what you want.
That's true too.
Like you can't always get exactly what you want, and also, I feel like this was one where maybe the only thing that was going to make fans happy is if Jon was on the Iron Throne. But the more you think about it, that's not Jon's character.
No, it's not.
Jon is very king-like, but does not want to be the king. And I thought in the end, everyone ended up exactly where they wanted to be. Sansa with a free north, her in command of that north.
Mm-hmm.
Arya gets to do what she wants in Westeros, basically. Just Westeros.
Westeros?
Yeah, Westeros. And then, obviously, Jon gets to be free, which also, by the way...
folk.
Which, by the way, can everyone shut up now about Pet and Ghost? Ghost is a good boy. He got pet by Jon.
Yes.
Like, also another thing of, like, let the fucking series play out before you jump on him for not
saying bye to Ghost.
Because that wasn't the last time he was going to see Ghost. And now it all comes together full circle.
And he got to pet Ghost. Happy now?
Yeah,
shut the fuck up.
Him and Ghost living where the wildlings are.
Where the wildlings are.
you like that one, don't you? Any final thoughts on this?
I wanted to write that as a children's book now.
You don't,
where the wildlings
are. Any final thoughts you think we haven't hit about this, or Game of Thrones in general with a whole arc? Because I've got one last thing.
How'd you feel about the Clegane Bowl?
About the what?
Clegane Bowl.
Oh, I thought the symbolism was great.
I thought it ended really, that's how it should have gone.
I love how in order for the Hound to defeat his older brother, he had to die as well. In flames, too. The one thing he was always afraid of the most, that is what he had to do.
See, I don't know why I put him to survive in my death pool.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking about it, like, why did I do that? He should have died with him.
Also, powerful scene when Tyrion finds Jaime and Cersei
together, yeah. That was a
just
powerful
a great scene. Also, Tyrion Lannister surviving all the way to the end. Like,
kudos to
dying.
you. Kudos to you, little imp. Kudos to you.
Killed his father on the crapper. Basically survived.
Strangled his lover.
Basically strangled. I forgot about that early on. Here's an idea that I had, and I'm throwing this out because we've got one thing that we got to give it a little time, but I would like to do it sooner rather than later. Is basically our Marvel reviews, where we're gonna watch each film in order of chronological.
Yeah,
it's like how they should go based off.
So
of
we're gonna watch
period.
a small chunk of Thor Ragnarok first, and then no, I'm sorry, Thor: The Dark World first. Then we'll watch Captain America. Then we'll watch Captain Marvel. Then we'll watch Iron Man.
I am just saying no. We're watching them in full. Do I still have I don't think I have the picture still. But basically, it starts
the
with
beginning
Winter
of
Soldier.
Thor: The Dark World is before everything.
I've already said no. It starts with Captain America goes into Captain Marvel. Like that way is how I want to watch them and kind of basically review them all over again. Where it's like looking at this, and then basically by watching them, we compile our kind of definitive Marvel ranking list. Another idea I had for another one. Dave has already said no to it because he says it's way too long, but I would be totally game for it. Is a game, after we give it a little bit of room to breathe, a Game of Thrones series review, where basically we rewatch the series from the beginning and do an episode about each, do a discussion about each episode.
Maybe a season each. We'll see.
Well, no, and that's what Dave said. Maybe talk about season 1. How I am thinking about this in my head as an early draft is it wouldn't just be start to end. It would basically be we do season 1, we record season 1, take a short break, then do season 2. There'd be breaks in between the seasons.
I get that. We'll see. That's a lot of time.
That is a lot of time, but I think it'd be worth it. I'm not talking about tomorrow. Let's start it.
I'm just saying.
Give Game of Thrones a break. Give it time to kind of breathe. And then when we are okay, it's time to, because I would love to do that, is rewatch it, knowing what we're going to get in the end, and then kind of relate some things from the beginning to the end and go through it that way.
We'll see we'll figure it out how we're going to do that.
We watch Game of Thrones in reverse. Start with the last episode and go all the way to the beginning.
Well, we'll discuss this.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm just saying we'll discuss details.
That's the thing with you guys and my ideas. You guys think it's my ideas are let's start tomorrow.
No, I'm just, we'll discuss. I'm not saying it's, even if
there's a lot of eggshells that whenever I throw out an idea.
No, it's more so, I'm not going off you're starting tomorrow. I'm saying that is a lot of time though still.
I know it's a lot of time. We would obviously space them out too.
Again, that is a lot of time, Ricky.
I get that, Johnny.
And we will discuss details later. We'll figure it out.
I'm just throwing it out there mainly for you guys if you want to see it. Yes. Peer pressure works. But
no, it doesn't. You know that.
Peer pressure totally works. So, Johnny, I will ask you this question. Very last thing. Do I end the podcast here or do I segue into a second topic? I'm going to let you decide. What do you think? End it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where you guys come in. We had a second thing. We're going to push it to next week. Johnny didn't want to use his words. He's I'm just going to very awkwardly kind of be no. So what we'll do, I will tell you what we had. We were going to have a discussion about Deadpool, how could possibly be put into the MCU. We're going to push that to a later date, kind of like we had New Mutants last week. So this is your Rick and Johnny podcast this week. It's all Game of Thrones for this one. Let us know what you guys think down below. I know the feelings might not be as fiery as they were immediately after the season finale, but still let us know what you guys think. What was your first reaction after you've had time for it to kind of stew? Have things changed? Have you been kind of okay, I've relaxed a bit on it, that kind of a thing. Also, check out patreon.com/Mosval Podcast. That is how you help support us, how you help us get into a new studio and get out of this 10 by 12 box. Also, iTunes, Apple Podcast, every 5-star rating helps us get into the ears of more people so that we can be heard by more people, more exposure, more fans. We grow the MVP. We grow the real MVPs, basically, is what I am saying. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Check out our Aladdin and Brightburn reviews as well. And as always, have a good day, everybody.